Welcome, beautiful souls, to Feminine Power, the She-Volution podcast. I'm Eva Simone. I'm so excited you're here. This podcast is a space where we're going to break free from the limitations that hold us back. Embrace our feminine power and create lives we absolutely love. We are in a She-Volution, a revolution of self-discovery where women are rising to their full potential, claiming their power, and rewriting the rules of the game. This podcast is your guide, your cheerleader, and your compass on this journey. We'll explore together the depths of your feminine wisdom, unlock your inner strength, and ignite the fire within you to create a life that is aligned with your soul's purpose. Get ready to tap into your next level self, embrace your unique power, and unleash the extraordinary woman you were born to be. Welcome to Feminine Power, the She-Volution podcast. Beautiful world. I have someone on today that I really admire. I met her a few months ago, and we talked about some beautiful things that really stopped me in my tracks. And I would be selfish if I didn't share this with the world. Her name is Lauren Diehl, and she is a deal to be spoken about. When we spoke, she talked about something beautiful, her story. I don't want to fill you with all of the details. I want her to tell you, but I want you to sit back. Just hold your shoulders back and really open up to a woman who is powerful and who is showing up in herself as her true self. Lauren, hello and welcome.
Thank you so much, Eva, for letting me join you in this space. And to anyone's listening, this is going to be such a treat. Thank you for having me.
Oh my goodness. I was just counting down the days before we were able to get on and talk. Before we got on this call, we were just talking about, each other as individuals. And one of the things that you talk about that you can talk, you're a doer. I am a talker. I can be quiet. I can be a beer. But I want you to tell people your story because it's so cool how you went from here to there and how the vibration of you just allowed you to do this beautiful dance on this planet. Take it away, girl.
Thank you so much. Grew up in a small town in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, amongst the Amish. And I joke, I'm not Amish, but I had a really great view. So we'll put it that way. Some really great scenery, a slower pace of life, and really great childhood. So that was a fun launching place. I was a teacher for 10 years, kindergarten and fifth grade. And I just love the way children just have imagination and hope, and they're excited for what could happen. And as adults, I feel like we lose that sometimes. And so it's nice having, Eva, you invite us to bring that energy back and to connect to the true self. So it's just been a really neat experience to see children in that mindset. So I was a teacher for 10 years, absolutely loved it. And then I got into a car accident. And it was on my way to a grad class, and I was going up over a hill and down the other side, and it was raining. And I realized I'm hydroplaning. And so I'm pumping the brakes, and I just felt like I was ice skating. And it was in that moment where you're going straight ahead, and there's cars stopped at a light. And it was either in that moment decide to hit a line full of people and really hurt a bunch of people, yank the wheel to the right, and they had just widened the road. And so you go into a house, again, hurting people, or you yank the wheel to the left and go into the oncoming traffic lane, hope that the light has not changed yet. What I didn't account for, though, was that there was a decorative stone wall. So as I'm yanking for the angle of least affecting others, I spun into a decorative stone wall. I say all that to say, my airbag didn't deploy, so I hit the steering wheel, and then it deployed, and so I had frontal bleeding, and basically had to learn how to walk and talk again. So everything I knew kind of came to a stop,
Wow.
Yeah.
Whoa. You're
Yeah.
so beautiful. There's so much beautiful energy coming through you. That's a testament for itself that something in you was so powerful that shifted everything. Take it. Go with it.
Like in a weird way, I reflect back on that moment as that was a blessing. Sometimes, and I don't know if this fits everyone, but in my life, I feel like sometimes I need a violent stop for
Ooh.
something beautiful to be able to rush in. Um,
Mm.
because sometimes we get so distracted in what's comfortable and what's routine, and we stop looking at what's possible. And so I think that was my moment of
Mm.
you're meant for something bigger. And if I don't do something drastic, you're going to
Mm.
stay in this space. So
Girl.
I learned resiliency and I had to build back
Mm.
layers of strength. And I also had to figure out who am I in this chapter because I don't feel like this version of myself exists anymore, but I also don't know what exists yet.
Yes.
So there's a really great book that I'll reference. I have an entire stack of books behind me that's by this author, Brianna Wiest, and she just recently released a book called The Life That's Waiting.
Oof, oof, oof.
And I can say, like, the first couple pages, it spoke to my soul of like, you know, something might have ended, but you're not sure what's next yet, but just keep going. Because think about like driving in the fog. You can't see, but you know you're on the right path.
Yes. Yes. Oh, girl. That's so beautiful and so like you just broke me wide open. I thought it was open before, but whoa, I almost had to hold on to my seat when you were talking about that. Because, a lot of times when we go through things or we're going through something, we get into this mindset of, oh my God, why is this happening to me?
Right.
And we go down the spiral if we're not careful. And I'm so grateful that I can hold myself in energy that can make me understand what's happening and then move forward. What was it that was there a turning point that you said, okay, this isn't it? Or what happened?
That's a great question. I realized that what used to light my soul on fire and felt like my purpose of my life, which was teaching, just didn't feel as glowy and bright anymore. It almost felt like this fit, but it's like the Cinderella slipper. It just doesn't fit right anymore.
Oh,
So I ended up a random conversation. I feel like there's transition people. There's always people that come in and out of your life to teach you something.
oh,
They might not stay for the whole chapter. There's people that like ride through the book with you, but then there's also these characters that dip in, teach you something, and then stage left, they leave.
yes.
So I had this girl that I played kickball with one summer, and she moved down to Florida, and she just randomly happened to send me a message on Instagram and say, hey, this might be random, but my boyfriend and I just broke up and I'm looking for a roommate and I think you'd be great. Would you ever consider moving to Florida? No. I had owned a house for 10 years. I had this great job. My family was there. I had car payments. And I don't know what compelled me, but I just said, yeah, I'll be
Really?
there. Mm-hmm. So I put my house up for sale with a local real estate agent just to see what I could get. It sold within a day. And then I
That gives me goosebumps.
I just had a moment of like, okay, well, now I'm homeless, so I have to do this. And so then I sold, stuff is just stuff and everything's replaceable. They're just,
Yes. Yes.
I just had a garage sale and I put everything that was in my house outside on my driveway just to see what would go. And then whatever didn't go, I'd figure out. Everything sold, or I had like church donation companies come up, like pull up and like take the rest. And I realized, okay, I just have the things I need. So I put my 2 dogs and whatever essentials I had into my SUV. And I said goodbye to friends and family. And I started my trek down to Florida. And that was the biggest life leap with no net. I didn't even know if there was a net. But,
Oh,
I'm doing this.
oh, that's so beautiful. Oh, you're all in my skin.
It's that leaping without the net that I think holds so many people back. They want to be able to see the net, before they leave, but the coolest things happen when you don't see it and you just trust it's there.
Yes, girl, that is boom chicka boom energy. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Then what happened?
So then I make it down to Florida.
I'm tearing up. I'm crying.
I had never, left my hometown of Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And so, of course, what do you do when you know no one in town? You join a rec team. So I joined another kickball team because that's how you meet people. And I happened to get on this kickball team with a bunch of girls who were like, hey, it's Wednesday. What are you doing this weekend? I said, I have no clue. I just moved here. And they're like, come out on a boat with us. I was like, great. Gave me the address. I show up. And I started just filming with my phone on Instagram, just to my friends, like, look, guys, I'm going boating today. They don't call this a pontoon. They call this a yacht. Isn't that funny? Like, and it's just interesting, the places that you end up and the people that you happen to be with no expectation. A DJ that wore a mouse head was on the boat, and he didn't wear the mouse head when he was on the boat, just for clarification. Or just like high profile, like actresses were on the boats. And so, but everyone's just people.
Yes, it's true.
Thing is like imposter syndrome. As women, sometimes we think, do I deserve to be in this room?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes. And let me stop that. People, stop that. Stop that.
Yes.
Stop that.
Yes. Because we're all just people. And you have to figure that even these high profile people who have very public facing jobs, they have imposter syndrome with someone else.
Yes, so, they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I worked with a whole line of them for years.
Yes. And so it's just the mindset shift of, hey, do I get along with this person? Is this person someone that I could share values and maybe just a cup of coffee with?
Yes.
And take their persona out of it. And so that's why I started leading that life in Florida of, I don't know what my plan is, but I have the sale of my house to go off of, and I'm just going to float a little bit. Started taking up like scuba diving and going on boats. And the whole time I'm just filming my existence on Instagram. Fast forward a couple months and I get an Instagram DM, and this woman says, hey, I've been watching your Instagram. Would you ever consider being a TV host? And I thought it was a prank because I was thinking, that's so silly. Like, why? Who are you? So then, of course, you click her picture. And
you can see my arms. They're like goosebumps everywhere.
It's just like when you grip the wheel, like white knuckle the wheel, and you think you need a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan, or who do I want to be? Or by this age, I need to have a child, and I need to be married, and I have found that that's not how this works. Mm-mm. So when I stop white knuckling the wheel and just kind of take my hands off and kind of let life lead me, cool things happen. So this casting director says, hey, I think you should be a TV host. It's Monday. Can you be in Tennessee on Thursday for a casting call? And I was like, sure. So she sends me the information. I fly up, and it's for a home shopping network. So I have no qualifications to be there. So there's 7 rounds of interviews. Half the people stand in the doorway and don't want to sit down because my resume says kindergarten and 5th grade teacher. So what's the point of sitting down? Then some guy comes in and he says, I have to kill 15 minutes before my next meeting. So tell me a story. He was like, do you have any experience with sales? And so I said, yes, I have about 10 years of experience selling a product that no one wanted. And he was like, what was it? And I said, well, I'll be honest, I had an entire clientele that I had to annually get a whole new customer base and sell out the product before the year end. He was like, I have to know, what did you sell? And I said, I sold 5th grade math to kids who hate math and made them love it by the end of the year.
Oh.
He sat down. We ended up having a whole conversation. And he said, if you can say what you just said now, but do it in front of a camera, I think you'll be okay. He was like, you know what, let's go check it out. I'll take you down for a tour. So he took me down to the studios and he thought, just pop your head in and see what they're up to. I saw 5 cameramen. I saw like directors and producers up in the production nest, if you will. And then I see this big blonde lady in Tennessee with a wild accent talking about all the sparkly things in front of her. And he kind of just pushes me through the door and shuts it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we're live. So Mandy was the lady who was on air, and she was like, oh, honey, come on out here. She was like, I have to use the restroom. So everybody at home, this is, honey, what's your name? And I was like, Lauren. She was like, great, honey, you come on, sit down and tell them about your favorite things. I'll be right back.
Oh,
And leaves me.
oh my gosh.
Production didn't know this was happening. So they're panicking. So I sit in the chair. Someone puts something in my ear. They clip a mic to me and they're like, just talk, fill airtime. I don't know what I said. I must have talked about sparkly things. Mandy felt like she took a very long time to come back. And I thought, you know what, this is just going to be a fun story to tell at parties. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. I talk a little bit. And then Mandy comes back. She was like, all right, honey, get out of my chair. I got work to do. And so they call me an Uber. I fly back to Florida. And I was like, wow, what was that? You know, they call and offer me the job. So I moved to Tennessee.
You know, I want to stop right here and just really hold energy around that, because when we just allow life to be and show up. I always feel there's something out there that's around us, that's watching us, that's holding us for the thing in the moment if we just meet it halfway.
Yes.
You met it halfway, girl. You sat in the seat, you cranked the car up, you went forward, and you had no idea how this was going to turn out.
Yeah.
Wow. If you were now Lauren at 9 years old,
Mm-hmm.
Lauren at 9 years old would be like, I would never do anything like that. Or Lauren at 9 years old was saying, of course I would do something like that.
Yeah.
What would it be?
I think if I were to talk to my childhood self, you know, she was in dress up clothes, dancing on top of anything she could find to Michael Jackson's, you know, music. And like, hey, mom, look at my new dance move. So in a weird way, I feel like she would be like, ooh, I get to be on TV. You know, she would be excited.
Oh, now how yummy was that moment right then and there?
Yes.
That little girl was like, when you're on television, that little girl was saying, we made it.
Yes.
Mom, look at us. We made it.
There was a really neat moment when I was able to bring my mom on air. So that was a cool, like, full circle. But yeah, did that for a couple of years, had a great time. And every day when they were counting down to say, like, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you're live, to millions of people at home. And there's no like mess up and edit button. You're live. And there's screens that say who's on the phone, how much money is being spent, focus on this jewelry. And then you see what the people at home see. So like there's just so much going on. Oh, and you've got to talk about what you're selling too. And you've got to sell a certain amount. So every day felt like you were jumping out of an airplane without a parachute.
Wow.
Talk about trust, because
yes,
regardless of what you had planned, that's not the way being live on TV sometimes works. At one point, there was a trash can on fire and all these people were quietly rushing onto set to put the fire out, but you had to act like there was no fire on set. So there's crazy things that go on. And that was a great learning experience. But then COVID hit and the media changed, and being in person was very tricky. So I was one of the newer hires, and so I was one of the newer fires. And so I, tail between my legs, had to move back to Pennsylvania.
Okay.
It was one of those things where I thought I made it to the top of the mountain. And now, you know, I'm mid-30s. I'm moving back to my hometown that I said I was never going to shrink back into, living in my parents' guest room. And now I have no job. And it just was such a deflating, like, what's my purpose if I don't have this big affluent title, you know?
Yeah. Yes. But if you can see it and the big picture of it, it's really a beautiful secret pause.
Yes.
Did you see it as that?
I don't think when I first stepped into the space, because I'm such an extrovert. And so having to be in the COVID space of trying to be safe and stay home and not having a job. And maybe I should mention, I don't have kids, I'm not married. And so my focus in life has always been like goals. Let me hit another goal. Let me strive for something. Let me work towards something. So when I had to kind of unplug all of those feelings and just be, was super uncomfy.
Oh, it's like hot fire.
Yes. Sitting on my hands was painful, but I'll tell you what I learned in that moment of when you quiet your mind, you're able to see things a little bit better.
Yes.
And many times we don't let our minds get quiet. We're so focused on what do I have to do between Monday and Friday? Okay, now it's Friday. What do I have time to do with my family over the weekend? And we don't have any mental break because then before bed we're scrolling on Instagram and we don't quiet our brains, So that was a very welcoming chapter. I'll fast forward. After COVID kind of was winding down a little bit, I was casted to be a TV host in Florida, which has brought me here. North Florida this time, not South Florida. Very different vibe.
Sure is.
Yeah, no yachts here. We are called the Swamp here. So more gators. Anyway, different destination.
Lots of gators.
Yeah, not exactly a hub to yacht in. Anyway, pushed myself in that chapter by learning technology, had to learn how to code, was speaking with top scientists who were designing the legs for the SpaceX rockets, and really had to put myself in a place where I'm not the smartest person in the room, but how do I communicate this brilliant person's message to someone who just wants to know what's going on? So it was like a translation point. It was a really neat phase. And now in this chapter, I migrated from that to what do I really want? What would life look like to feel like my best self? And that's where authenticity comes in.
Yes.
You can have this really cool job title, but are you happy? You can have money, but no time.
Oh.
So what would life look like if you were to write down on paper, what time would you wake up today?
Yes.
How would you spend your time if money was not a thing? Who would be there? What would you be wearing?
Yes, girl. And when you get to that place, that's real boom chicka boom energy.
Yes. Because then you realize that as you peel back the layers, some of these things maybe were important, but they're not anymore because you're always an evolving onion.
Yes.
So you have to weed your garden. You've got to pull out things that no longer fit so you can plant new things. So what I decided was I want time. I want to be able to wear yoga pants.
Yes.
I have a 13-year-old dog, and I want to be able to spend her last year or so with her rather than driving to a physical location to be on camera. So I ended up launching my own company called Mastery Media Training, and it was a way for me to help people with something I'm passionate about, getting back to my teacher roots while being home, and then being able to make my own time. And it was this beautiful circle of these are the things that I value. And now these will be the things that I am able to pour into people. So that's where I am now.
Well, let me tell you, while you were talking about that, I saw all of this beautiful energy just floating around you. That is your element. That is your truth at your soul.
Thank you.
It's at your soul. And that's so beautiful when you can show up in a way that is a truth for you. But I want you to tell the audience, because somebody may need your service. Share what you do, how you do it, where they can find you. Tell everybody everything.
Thank you. So what we do is it's anywhere you are, I can be to support. And so many people don't go to a TV studio every day, I found out. But we do use Zoom through our laptop or maybe on your phone to do live streaming, or maybe you have your own podcast, or you just want to be able to talk more efficiently to your boss when you do your one-on-ones. Many times people have their calls like this. And it's very hard to have a very serious conversation where you come across as an authoritative figure who knows what they're talking about when you look like a kid in a high chair, So camera angles matter, So one of the things I do is just help you be more confident on camera. You can have the most brilliant things to say, but your body language is loud,
Now, every time I get on camera, I'm going to be like, am I in a high chair?
Yes. Yes. But so many people don't think about it. They're just happy that they could see the person. They don't think about what they look like,
Am I in a high chair right now?
Yes. Everyone, am I in a high chair? Or are we okay?
That was so prime just then. That was prime. I love it.
Yes. Because now when you watch this, you're going to be thinking like, what's behind you? I had someone the other day who had a bed full of laundry trying to conduct something for a talk back for the news. And I was like, well, I'm not going to say his real name, but I'll just say, Guy, we got to get you a fake background. We can't be talking about the state of the world and see your laundry,
My plan is life force. My sister unfortunately passed away, but someone gave me this plant and she's like with me all the time. So every time I'm doing something, I'm like, girl, we good? We good back there?
I love that. I do love that. You've got to have some element of life in your shot,
Yes.
For mine, it's a dog you just can't see.
Okay. Yes. So you have your services that you're doing it all from home. Mm-hmm. You meet with people over Zoom, and then what happens?
So that's the neatest part is that, I meet with you based on what your goals are. And so it could be simply, hey, I'd like to speak more confidently to my boss. We have once a week meetings and I can just support you in this space. But then I also have clients who are doing like political debates. And I had a client 2 weeks ago who was doing their first TED Talk kind of just in their town and learning about stage presence and body language and pausing and pacing. And so it could be from your home to the stage to a TV studio. It's whatever you.
Yes. So the next day or so, I can't even go 5 years with you because your life can change this fast.
Yes.
Like what are your desires and how can we help you?
Ooh, having a community like you fostered of women who are tapped in and tuned in to, to being in alignment, because I think that's so easy. You have to keep testing it to make sure, like, does this feel good? It used to, but does it today?
Yes.
And keep bringing yourself back to center. And sometimes that's removing things, clutter.
Yes.
It could be removing people.
Yeah.
Or it could be removing, what is your time suck? What's your energy vampire? Yes. And so I would say, Eva, I'm just really proud of the community that you've created. And I would say to anyone who's listening, make sure that you follow Eva and all of her guests because she's bringing all of these incredible women to the forefront. And each of these women, you are meant to hear their message.
Yes. And everybody has their own story with how they're showing up in the world. And for me, I certainly have my own story with how I show up in the world. But one of the things that I'm so passionate about for women so that we don't burn out, that we are balancing ourselves in beautiful ways, that we are bringing both energies, the masculine and feminine, up so that we can be these powerhouses moving forward based on our soul's blueprint. Not exactly how I do it, not exactly how you do it, but how you're supposed to do it according to yourself. And girl, it looks like you're doing it how you're supposed to do it.
I'm winging it, hands off the wheel at this point. Just remember when you're gripping, that's not when life happens. It's when you let go.
Yes.
And I guess people call that faith, just really trusting that whatever is meant to happen will, and whatever best plans you have. I don't think that's the way life goes sometimes. Sometimes what you dream is just like this tiny little version of who you could be when something louder and bolder and brighter is out there, but you only think this is possible.
I'm clapping for the whole world.
Round of applause. Yeah.
It's so true, I always say this or something a hell of a lot better.
Yes.
So that, yes, girl, your eyes was like, yes, girl, yes.
Yes. I wake up every morning and I literally just say, show me how good it can get.
Yes. Mhm. And if the person who's like doesn't want it to be good, I'll say, give that to me. Give that to me.
Yeah.
Give me that. Give me that. This has been beautiful. So tell the world, give the world something that they can just grab hold to, some young lady, some man, some whatever, whoever's listening. Give them something that they can take and just really open themselves up in a beautiful way. One thing.
I would say, really dial in to yourself. And sometimes that means journaling. Sometimes that just means sitting and thinking, how am I spending my day? Am I weaving in so much happiness? Where is my joy? Do I have any? Because sometimes we are so focused on what we have to do, we're not thinking about what we want to do. And then years go by and you're like, how am I 40? How is that a thing? And I don't dance anymore. I don't make anything. I don't create. I can't tell you the last time I worked with my hands. So I would encourage you to find what lights you up. Become the lighthouse. You've got to turn on your own light before you can guide others.
It's true.
Mentality, like fill your cup. I like to say, become your brightest self so you can guide others.
Yes. Oh, girl, you're like a rocket ship. You have the fuel just like I have the fuel. You can just blast off into the orbit.
That's why I love hanging out with you, though, because it's the energy. It's that law of reciprocity of, it's that beautiful energy giving energy.
Yes. Boom, chicka boom.
Yes. Yes.
Boom, chicka boom. So, world, you have just been touched. Like two beautiful women. I want you to find Lauren and hire her for her services. Her energy is so beautiful. She is doing what she's been put on this earth to do. Hire her. And on that note, anything else you would like to add?
I just want to thank you so much for just letting me spend this time with you. And to the listener, I really appreciate you just giving this energy to Eva, because she's making a ripple effect of change. And so thank you for being part of that movement.
Oh, yes. And it is so. It is so. Thank you so, so, so much.
Yes.